through the airwaves and all around the world. You're listening to Mr. Scott's podcast.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Mr. Scott from Mr. Scott's podcast. I hope you guys are doing well out there. Today I'm going to be sharing a testimony from former OnlyFans model Gwen. She's no longer doing OnlyFans, has decided to follow Jesus Christ, and we're going to share that testimony and hope you guys get a blessing out of it. So let's go ahead and roll it.
So hello, hi, I am Gwen, if you're new here. 3 years ago, back in 2020, I made an OnlyFans account, and despite making more money than ever before, simply put, it destroyed my life. But thankfully, praise God, He saved me and He helped me to turn my life around, and that's how we ended up here today, me filming this video. So my goal here today is to share my story in the hopes of inspiring, I suppose anyone who might be inspired by it, but specifically, I hope that I can resonate with other girls that are either in a similar situation as I was, where they have an OnlyFans account and they are questioning their life choices now. They've kind of realized what they've done and you feel like there's no going back, there's no hope for you, your life is over. I really hope that I can inspire you and show you that there is a way out, and there is always redemption, and there is always hope through God. And also for any girls out there who are maybe thinking about making an OnlyFans account, I hope that by sharing all of the many ways in which OnlyFans destroyed my life, you will think twice and hopefully not do it. Ever since I started sharing my story on social media, I've gotten countless messages from other girls in similar situations that are either wanting to quit, but they feel, as I absolutely did, that because they made this decision, they basically can never get another job, they're unemployable, they have nothing else to offer the world, this is all that they are good for, and so they kind of feel stuck doing this. And I've also gotten messages, thankfully as well, which is really inspiring, from girls that went through all of that and are now even farther than me in their journey. They have a whole new life that they've built for themselves. So I just want to say at the outset that you are never too far gone. God is always waiting for you with open arms. And I really hope that even if you are totally unreligious like I was, as you'll see in a minute, and the whole idea of God sounds totally ludicrous and insane to you, which again, totally was there as well, I hope that you can just watch this with an open mind, and hopefully a little seed will plant in your heart and it will blossom, and you will realize just how much God loves you and how much value you have and how much potential you have. That God has so many better plans for you than you could ever imagine, and that even though right now it might be hard to see how you could turn things around, I promise you that God has a plan, and all you have to do is pray to Him and ask Him for guidance, and everything will slowly but surely unfold before you. And if you have any questions or you just want any guidance or personal advice, any girls out there, feel free to send me a DM and on Instagram. I only check Instagram. I don't know how TikTok DMs work, so don't message me there. But on Instagram, message me and I will be more than happy to chat with you and help you. As it might seem, as some people kind of assume from me sharing how I am now against OnlyFans and pornography in general, you might think that I am judging you, but as someone who's been there, I understand 100%, and I'm never ever judging you, and I will only approach you with love and just try to be helpful. So all of that out of the way, let's go back to the beginning now, and I'm gonna explain to you how I ever even got into the crazy world of OnlyFans in the first place. As I'm sure most of you can guess, the biggest reason was money. I was actually in a lot of debt, like a very serious, scary amount of money. Nothing kind of in comparison to the debt I have now on my mortgage, but for just credit card debt, it was an insane amount of money and really, really, really scary. Now, I have no one to blame but myself for that. I had a very, very bad shopping addiction. I kind of did my whole life, but that shopping addiction got really bad when I had access to thousands of dollars on a credit card, which was not a good idea. And I was actually working as a full-time influencer, doing a lot of fashion and beauty content at that time. I had had YouTube for like 6 years or something before then, so I'd been in this world for a really long time, and I was making decent money. Like, I would be genuinely really happy if I made that money, the amount I was making then, now, it would be really, really great. But the thing is, I was just so horrible at managing my money. I was constantly shopping, constantly buying things I did not need, buying clothes on clothes and clothes. I was that kind of girl who felt like I couldn't wear the same outfit twice, and because I was a fashion influencer, that's kind of just how it is as well. And buying a lot of furniture and just wasting my money, being a really, really stupid 24-year-old. So bearing in mind that I was very, very in debt and also had a shopping addiction, when I started to get approached and questioned by guys that were following me, telling me that they would love it if I made an OnlyFans, and they were telling me how much other girls that they followed, how much they made on OnlyFans, it was very, very alluring. I was very curious pretty much right away. Also around this time, I had an ex leak some of my nude photos, and I know this sounds really, really, really dumb now looking back, but at the time I was like, oh, well, the cat's already out of the bag, I might as well make some money. Yeah, I know, okay? I'm just trying to explain where I was, what I was thinking at the time. There are other things I could also probably mention as well, like different sexual trauma and things, but really, I feel like that would just be me trying to make up an excuse. Like, honestly, when it comes down to it, I just wanted the money, and I didn't really care what I had to do to get it. I didn't want to be in debt anymore. I didn't want to struggle anymore. I wanted to be able to buy whatever I wanted, whatever clothes I wanted, to travel all the time, and to never worry about how I was going to pay my rent. Okay, I have this note written down. I feel like this is very fitting. One of my favorite lines in the Bible, 1 Timothy 6:10, "For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows." And I feel like that is a perfect description of me and who I was at the time. Money, 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 money. It's not always a bad thing, but earning money without a firm moral foundation can lead you down some treacherous paths, as I can absolutely attest to. Another thing that I feel like is really important and worth mentioning is that at that time, I saw nothing wrong with OnlyFans or with porn in general. I listened to podcasts with different porn stars, and I thought they sounded so cool and so happy and just were living an awesome life. I was very into just being sexually open and fluid. I was the definition of a hardcore leftist. I was very liberal. I was very pro-modern feminism. So I went to like a really liberal university. I was just so brainwashed, and my whole understanding of reality and right and wrong, everything was just totally messed up. Okay, my camera literally already ran out of battery. I hope I haven't been talking for that long. This is not good. We're only on page 3. Okay. Oh yeah, I totally thought that morality was subjective. Like, seriously, cringe. But yeah, I thought morality was subjective. I also thought that sex work and just like being promiscuous and showing off a lot of skin, all of that was empowering. So you can kind of understand how I thought that OnlyFans was just like not a big deal at all. And one last thing worth mentioning as well is, at the time, like I said, I was a fashion influencer. I was doing a lot of YouTube videos, and as part of that, I was doing a lot of lingerie and bikini try on hauls. So I was already showing off my skin quite a lot, and it just kind of felt like a very natural next step to go from that to OnlyFans. So yeah, a couple of people have asked me if at the time I knew that I was doing something wrong, but I just kind of didn't care for the money. And I feel like it is very possible that subconsciously I did know that it was wrong, because I really do believe that God has written his law on our hearts, and that's why we have a conscience. That's why deep down we know what is right and what is wrong, and why we feel guilty naturally. But it is also very easy to get caught up in our sinful world and to be full of delusion, like I really think that I was. So I genuinely did not consciously think that there was anything wrong, but I think it is possible, probably subconsciously I did, as we will get into in a little bit. I was also at the time surrounded by a lot of yes queen type of girls, you know, yes men, but girl version. And so everyone that I knew, everyone that I was close with, that I respected, whether online or in real life, also really supported me in my decision and didn't tell me that what I was doing was wrong. I'm not saying that if they had, I would have listened to them. I really don't know, but it's just another thing to point out. Obviously, I was on the internet, so I was getting comments from strangers telling me that what I was doing was like a bad decision and immoral and all of those things, but I didn't know them. They were just random strangers on the internet. So it's very easy to just totally ignore people like that and to write them off as being overly religious and square and boring people and judgmental, and just it's very easy to ignore those kind of comments if they're not coming from people that you actually know and love and respect. So all that to say that I made an account one day. I had actually just broken up with my boyfriend at the time, who is now my fiance, but that is a whole story for another day. But yeah, we had just broken up briefly, and during that time I decided, you know what, F it, I want money and I don't care, so I'm making an OnlyFans. And I pretty much made an account. I didn't post anything for a couple of days. I'm not really sure the exact timeline, but I didn't post right away. But I think somehow someone found my account and they started posting it on Reddit. So before you knew it, I had a lot of subscribers, and I had literally within the course of like a couple of days made enough money to pay off all of the credit card debt that I had, that I mentioned at the beginning. Like literally I didn't even post anything and I had already made enough money to pay off debt that, like, at the time I thought I would never be able to pay off, and I just felt like I was drowning in it and it was just never going to go away. So as you can imagine, if you were that desperate financially and that hopeless, and then all of a sudden you get all of this money, needless to say, I was just totally swept up in it all, and it was just so exciting to me. So I jumped headfirst into making actual videos for it, and that's kind of where everything went downhill. So for the first few months, I definitely got swept up in it all. All of the money was so exciting to me. So I felt like I really was happy. Like genuinely, I was happy. I think I was just so full of delusion. Like, I don't even know. I had money. I enjoyed making these videos at the time, and I really, yeah, I got swept up in it all. But it didn't take long for everything to completely deteriorate. After a few months, everything started to just make me feel really gross. Making videos made me feel really gross. It made me feel objectified. I hated making the videos. It really was the worst part of my day. I absolutely dreaded having to make them, and I felt a full body revulsion. Like an ick. I didn't want to make them anymore, but I felt like I had to. I had to keep my subscribers happy. I had to keep on rolling in this money that I had now grown accustomed to. I felt like a slave. I felt like an object that I was just being used. It really started to mess with me quite quickly. And it also messed with my self-esteem a lot. I would have said before I started that I was quite a confident person. I felt not like the prettiest girl on the planet or anything. Like, I definitely had things that I was self-conscious about, but on the whole, I was confident. I was happy with my body. I didn't really want to change anything. It was all good. And after those first few months, I definitely started to research plastic surgery and different procedures that I might want to get done, because I started to feel like I wasn't good enough and like I didn't look the way that I ought to look. I really wanted to get a boob job because most of the girls in the industry have fake boobs, and so you see those perfectly round, totally unnatural boobs, and you start to think that something is wrong with the way that God made you. And that messed with me a lot, and I started to feel really, really self-conscious of the way that I looked, whereas before I really felt fine. So it messed with my self-confidence as well. And then it also just messed with me so much mentally. Like, obviously, like I said, I was just feeling really gross about the whole thing, and it started to really make me depressed. I started binge eating a lot, which I've always turned to food when I'm feeling down. But yeah, I gained like 30 pounds in a couple of months because I just was so unhappy and I couldn't stop binge eating. My skin broke out like crazy, probably from eating way too much, but also I swear just from like the mental stress of it all as well. So yeah, everything started to really go downhill essentially. But even after all of that, even after all of these issues, I just thought maybe something was wrong with me and that I'd be able to get over all of these issues that I was having. I really was in denial at the time still. Like I said, the money really does blind you, and I truly felt like all the people who were judging me they just didn't know what they were talking about. They didn't understand. But thankfully, because of 2020, it took me a while, but because of 2020 and all the crazy things that happened politically, I started to really expose myself to other ways of thinking, and I started to realize that a lot of the liberal viewpoints when it came to politics didn't actually make a whole lot of sense. And so I started to look at more conservative people who before I would have never ever listened to ever, because I thought that they were racist, homophobes, you know, all of the things. And started listening to them, being like, okay, actually they're so right about all of these things, that I started to open my mind more to their other views. And it really didn't actually take that long for me to realize that everything I believed was totally wrong, including my ideas about modern feminism and what was empowering and whether morality is subjective, all of those things. And I started to listen to a lot of conservatives also speak about religion and about the Bible and about God. And it wasn't like I was looking for that information at all. It's just a lot of conservative political speakers. They just kind of throw little bits about God within their whole spiel of whatever they're talking about. And so you just, you slowly pick up on these things. And I started to hear more and more about the concept of God, the concept of Jesus, and it all started to really resonate with me to the point where I got so curious that I actually bought a Bible, something that I had never touched before in my entire life. I did not grow up religious at all. I thought religious people were crazy, were total nut jobs. Like, I really just didn't understand. And through all of that, I heard a lot of people talk about the truly detrimental effects of porn and how, like, I genuinely believe that it is evil now. Something I didn't think before, so no judgment to you, but yeah, I realized how horrible it was, and I started to feel horrible for being a part of it. And I also began to realize that it wasn't like it was just me, that there's something wrong with me as to why I was feeling so horrible making all of these videos. I realized that actually that was just completely normal and natural, because God did not design me or intend for me to be involved in such a dark and twisted industry. That is not what I was made for. And it's no wonder that I started to feel so depressed and so down and so horrible about it all the time. So yeah, I ordered a Bible on Amazon back in 2020. I was still making content at this time, but I was searching for answers, and I tried my best to read it. I really struggled. I still kind of do, but I've gotten a lot better since. But I was curious. I was definitely seeking for answers. I didn't really know what those answers were, but I knew that I was missing something in my life, and I really wanted to search for that. I started to listen to more Christian focused podcasts, not just conservative that happened to sprinkle in bits about the Bible, but I started listening to Bible teachings, Bible readings, Christian podcasts that I found so helpful. I read Mere Christianity by C.S. Lewis. Such a good book, would highly recommend. That book actually alone had such a huge impact on me, because he explained quite logically why he believed God was real, and he explained why he believed that morality was not subjective, that there actually was clear right and wrong. And that, when I realized that you could twist things and try to convince yourself as much as you wanted, but there was clear right and wrong, and what I was doing was clearly wrong, that changed everything for me. Realizing that book was just, would highly recommend, so good. And I finally started to realize that not only was making these videos harmful for me and my mental health and my soul and all of those things, but it was also horrible for the men who are watching, for their relationships, their current ones or their future ones. I started learning more and more about the truly horrific effects of porn and how it impacts individuals and society as a whole. And so I really started to just feel horrible. Not only had I felt like I entered hell on earth, but I had also brought other men down there with me, and I'd also inspired a lot of other girls to follow in my path. And it was around this time that I started to realize that no amount of money was worth this. I will not deny that for me, OnlyFans was quite lucrative, and I used to think that money would solve all of my problems. But what I've learned now is that money is not created equally. I realize to some people this is so obvious, but I'm telling you, it was not for me. And while it was really nice to be able to buy whatever I wanted, to buy whatever clothes I wanted, to buy presents for other people all the time, to donate thousands to charity, to go on vacation all the time, all of those things were very nice, I suppose. But what I learned is that money is only good if you make it doing something honorable. No amount of donations to charity is ever going to wipe away the fact that the money that I was making was dirty money. All of the shame and all of the horror that I felt making money in this way meant that I could never truly enjoy it, that I would always feel horrible, that every time I would buy myself something, I would feel guilt. I would go on vacation and I wouldn't be able to enjoy myself because I knew that I didn't deserve it. Like, I didn't deserve to have the money in the first place to be here, and so I couldn't even enjoy myself. Ultimately, it only took me 28 years to realize that no amount of money is worth selling your soul and destroying your relationship with God and just doing something that you know deep down to be immoral. So I think it is also worth noting, but even though I was quite lucky if you want to call it that, in terms of how much money I made. Majority of girls, I haven't looked at the stats recently, but I think it was something like 99% of girls that have an OnlyFans make $100 a month. They're literally selling their bodies, selling your soul for $100 a month. Like, not that the amount makes any difference, but still, I'm just trying to say whatever I can to convince any girl out there that might be thinking about it to just not do it. It is not worth it. Now, we're gonna get to the stuff that's gonna be really hard for me to talk about. Okay, so without a doubt, the worst part about starting OnlyFans was how it affected my family life. Not just the people in my family, and not just my fiance, and making having a healthy relationship really hard, which is all true, but just for privacy's sake, I'm not going to touch on that, although you can just make your assumptions and you're probably not going to be wrong, but that's just too far. I can't talk about that. But what was even worse than that for me was realizing that I wanted to start a family. When I originally started OnlyFans, I obviously had a few people message me saying, well, but what are you going to do when you have kids one day? And being the liberal feminist that I was at the time, I quite strongly felt that I did not want kids, so who cares? Well, it turns out a lot can change in 3 years, and I've come to realize that I want nothing more than to have a family and to have kids. And the more that I came to terms with that, the more that I realized that, the more miserable I got. I asked myself the quite obvious question that lots of people like to ask me too. How can I have kids now after I made this huge mistake? These videos are on the internet forever and will not only haunt me, but will haunt my kids forever too. I was hearing stories of other kids whose moms had OnlyFans and how it really destroyed their mental health. They got bullied, they might have tried to end their lives, and realizing all of that really destroyed me, because that is all I want. All I want is to have a family and to raise kids, and now I just can't have kids because I made this one really massive stupid decision. And it was after that full earth-shattering realization when I came to fully understand what I had done and how this one mistake that I made when I was young and dumb would literally ruin my life forever, that I could never have the life I truly want because of this. And that is when I fully met God for the first time. Before, I was just curious, I was just learning, but it was in this one moment that I really met God. This is like my come to Jesus moment, if you will. Once I realized the whole kid thing, I genuinely didn't want to live anymore. It's not like I had never been depressed before. I was a teenager once, and I think we all go through hard times at that age. And also, like I said, the last 3 years had been really hard. I was really down all of the time. But it was this belief that I know I couldn't have kids anymore, and that therefore I couldn't have the life that I want, that my soul yearns for, that made me genuinely wonder, why should I continue living? And I distinctly remember one day sitting in my backyard, bawling my eyes out, just asking God, how could I go on? That if he was really there, could he please help me? Because I was so sad and I was so lost and I just didn't want to live anymore. That I had just never felt more ashamed or regretted something more in my entire life. Like, the heaviness of it all really came crashing down on me. And for people who don't know God, I know that this will sound weird, but for those of you who do, you'll totally understand. But I swear, in that moment, me just crying in my backyard, I really felt God's presence. Like, I felt like he was there. He wrapped his arms around me and he told me everything was going to be okay. He told me that it wasn't over. He told me that he loved me and that he would help me and that he would guide me and help me turn my life around. And ultimately there was hope for me, that I was not too far gone, that despite it all, he still loved me and he knew that it would be okay. And he told me that kids weren't out of the question either. I mean, we can discuss that whole thing another day, but that was like very hopeful for me, to feel God tell me that my dreams are not over, that there is possible redemption and that I can maybe have the life that I want. And that all I had to do was give my life to him and trust him, because God can really make beauty out of anything. Even my disaster of a life, he can turn it around. He can make miracles. And that is one of the moments in my life that I will literally never forget. It was so emotional, but so beautiful at the same time. And I'm just so thankful to God for finding me and not giving up on a hopeless wretch like myself. So, yeah. Now I am ashamed to admit that after that day, it wasn't the same day that I went upstairs and I grabbed my laptop and I clicked delete on my OnlyFans account, that it did still take me time to really grow towards God and to trust him and to know him and to learn about him. I think, like I already said, I did not grow up religious, so everything related to God sounded so silly to me, and it took me such a long time to unlearn all of those barriers and really submit to God and submit to his plan and just fully trust him. I don't remember how long exactly it took from that day in my backyard to the day that I did delete it, but I did take gradual steps to get there. So this is maybe some hope for any of you who are like me in a similar situation. Just take baby steps. Obviously, if you can go and click delete right now today, praise God, that would be so beautiful. But if you are a baby step person like myself, then that is still a step in the right direction. And I think that whatever you can do right now today is still really, really good. So I stopped making content. I completely stopped making any new videos. I still posted. I basically went back and reposted all my old stuff just to still look like I was active, but I wasn't making any more content, which that in itself was not only a huge relief, because like I said, I hated making content. Oh my gosh, it was the worst. So that was a relief, and it also was really, really scary, a really scary step for me, because at this time, and still now, like, I'm not making any money, and my only income was OnlyFans, and I didn't know how I was going to be able to pay my mortgage, how I was going to pay my bills, how I was just going to survive. So not making content meant that I was going to have a big pay cut, and it was just really, really scary. Okay, I know that for some people who are amazing, it's not good enough, but whatever, that's just the truth. I was terrified, and I was really, really proud of myself for at least taking a step in the right direction. And then a few months after that, I remember crying, thinking about how I really, really wanted to just completely delete it. At the time when I had stopped making content, I told myself that I would just keep it for another year and then maybe delete it after that. Because again, I was so scared of the money. Like, how am I going to pay my bills? How are we going to survive? And I also felt like my chances of having a normal career, because it's not like I'm stupid, like I have skills, I could definitely get a job if I hadn't made this mistake, but I felt like now because of this, no one's gonna want to hire me. How am I ever gonna have a real job, and am I just gonna be homeless now? Like, all of the fears that kind of run through your mind, it was really, really scary. But only a few months after that, I really just felt so called by God. I would read my Bible, I would pray, and all I would hear back from God every single time was, girl, delete your account, just trust me, hit the delete button. And every time I'd be like, God, please give me the strength, please help me, like this is just so scary and hard. And I remember the day that it happened, I'll literally never forget this. I was just sitting in bed and I was reading my Bible and I was praying, and I could just feel God so strongly, and his presence was just so great. And he was just telling me to just trust him, to lean on him, that he would take care of me, that all I had to do was just give my life to him. And so I grabbed my laptop, I pulled up my account, and I clicked delete. And oh my gosh, like just the rush of emotions that I felt first of all so much relief. Like just all of this weight that I felt like I had been carrying on my shoulders, all this shame, all this guilt, it felt like it all just was taken away in that moment, and it was so freeing. And just, oh, the best feeling ever. And I felt so much gratitude, like I was really bawling my eyes out, thanking God for giving me this strength to do something that was one of the hardest and scariest things that I've ever done in my whole life, because it was just a very vulnerable and a very scary place to be in. But in that moment, I felt so much hope as well, and so much trust in God, and just that feeling when you die to yourself and you give your life to God and you fully submit to his will and his wishes, and you just commit in that moment that whatever he tells you to do, you are going to do. No matter what, you are going to always do the right thing. No matter how scary, no matter how uncertain, no matter how much you might not see the future and it might be really unclear. I am the kind of person, I like to have a 10-year plan and to see where everything is going to go and how everything is all going to pan out. But deleting my OnlyFans was not a part of the equation, and I did not know how things, I still don't really know how things are going to pan out. And anyways, in that moment, just fully submitting, being like, okay, God, Jesus, take the wheel. Like, seriously, it was so incredible, and I'm just so thankful for that moment. And so some people have asked me, what was it that made you turn your life around? What was it that made you let go of your past life and start this new one? And it was just, without question, God. Without question. I feel like God was always looking for me, always seeking me out. Like when I look back at everything that happened in my life, I can see God working in it all and always trying to reach out and to find me. And I feel like especially these last couple of years, I was looking for God too, even if I didn't really realize it at the time. It wasn't like it was always conscious, but we were seeking out each other and we finally found each other. And it's just like, oh, it's the best. It really is the best. So how has my life changed since? I really wish I could sit here right now and tell you all of these amazing things that have happened to me, because I feel like it'd be a lot more encouraging to girls in a similar situation and just more inspiring, more amazing, whatever. But truly there is nothing surface level that I can really point to, like nothing visual, nothing like, oh, I got this amazing job now, and oh, I'm making lots of money and everything is fine, or oh, my man got a promotion and now we're totally good. Like none of those things I can really say. But I think something that is even more valuable, that is easy to overlook, is how I feel on the inside. I feel so much peace and gratitude and joy every day I wake up, and I just feel happy. And it's not always easy because, like I said, things are still quite uncertain for me in my life right now, but living for God and living, sorry, the camera cut out, and having a relationship with God is truly the greatest thing that has ever happened to me, and I wish it for everyone. And so even though, yeah, I don't really have a lot of things figured out, I do have God, and that is worth more than anything else. Anything else. No money is worth not having a relationship with God. And I feel so much peace, and even though I may not understand how it's all going to work out, that's okay, because I trust God and I know that He will take care of me, and I know that He will lead me down whatever path is best for me. And that is just something that money cannot buy, and it is so, so worth it. And so the obvious question that some of you might have is, like, what am I doing for money now? Because I am not making any money from OnlyFans, and that was the only way that I was making money at the time. And long story short, I'm not making any money right now. I have started a small business, but it is so teeny tiny, it's probably going to take forever, if ever, to actually pay any of my bills. But that is okay. And you know why? Because God has shown me that there is hope, that there is potential for me, that I am smart and capable and hardworking, and I can do something good with my life, something that I can feel good about. That people ask me, so what do you do for a living? And I can tell them without wanting to curl up in a ball and cry. And that is just so incredible. God has shown me that I'm not stuck, that what I used to think was that I can only do OnlyFans, that's all that I'm good for, because no one will ever hire me, I won't be able to do anything else with my life, I'm just stuck with this. And God has shown me that that's actually not true, that was just me lying to myself, or maybe the devil lying, I don't know, whatever, but it was not true, that I can turn my life around, that I am capable of great things. And if any girls are watching this who are in the same boat, I want you to know that as well, that you are full of potential, you are full of redemption, and God has a plan for you. All you have to do is ask Him to show you the way, and He literally will. He will, and it's the best. And yeah, I can with 100% certainty tell you that any financial security that came from having OnlyFans was not worth all of the pain, and that I really do trust that God will take care of me and that it will all work out in the end. But it remains to be seen what that actually is, and I'm learning to be okay with that uncertainty. So yeah, a lot of questions about, do you worry about having enough money? And truthfully, I would be lying if I said that I didn't. Like, yes, I definitely worry about money. But I'm trying my best not to, because God calls us to have no fear and to not worry and to trust Him and to have faith. And so far in my life, really, He's always been good to me, so I have no real reason to doubt Him or have fear. And no matter what happens, I know that will ultimately be for the best. I was joking in a video recently, but truly, I still believe this, that if I'm not able to pay my mortgage and I am homeless and I'm living in a tent, as much as I do not want that, please Lord, I do not want that, but if that happens, then maybe that is for the best. Like, I'm trying my best to view everything in a lens of whatever happens, God is taking care of me, and perhaps learning to live with less will ultimately be better for me in the long run. And so I'm just trying to have faith and to trust His plan, no matter what that looks like. And even if it might not be what I want in the moment, always, always, always long term, God is looking out for me, and God can And whatever I am put through, I know will ultimately be for my best, and maybe will be full of lots of lessons or something. So I'm trying to always view things from just that positive lens, and that really, really helps. And I plan on trying my best to continue sharing my story and my journey in the hopes of helping other women get out of this horrible, horrible industry. And also men, any men who are watching pornography, I hope I can encourage you to stop as well. I really just hope that my story can have a positive impact and that God can make something beautiful out of it. And for any girls watching in a similar situation to me, I hope that you can learn to trust God and to take the leap and to know that you are worth so much more than your body, and you have so much more to offer the world, and that God has better plans for you. Like I said at the beginning, I get tons of messages every day from girls in similar situations, and a lot of them have found a way out and gotten to the other side and built a beautiful life for themselves, and I know that you can too. And yeah, if there's any way that I can help, just send me a DM. Okay, I'm just gonna address a couple of really common comments and questions to finish. So the first one, I get this all the time: how does your fiance feel about you being a former OF girl or anything kind of in relation to him? And I completely understand the curiosity about this, but we both just want to keep our relationship private, so that it's not something I'm going to really comment on much now. Maybe in the future, but yeah, something I want to keep private. I will say though that he is the one in all of my videos. We made them together and we quit it together, and I'm really thankful that despite all the pressure to make content with other men that I didn't, because I feel like coming back from OnlyFans and having a good relationship together is just hard enough in general. I can't imagine making it work if I had made videos with other men, so I'm very thankful for that. And I also just want to make it clear that it was my idea. Like I said, we broke up at the time when I made it. He had nothing to do with it. If anything, I pressured him into it, and I feel horrible for that. I can add that to the list of shame that I have. Okay, a lot of questions, like literally every day someone comments about how this is all just a grift, which if you haven't heard the term grift, because I kind of hadn't either until I started getting those comments, it just means someone who is like lying and being fake for the sake of making money. And I think that's really silly, because if I wanted money, I would have just never quit OnlyFans in the first place. Like, that just doesn't make sense. Once a 304, always a 304. If any of you aren't familiar with the red pill manosphere kind of community, there are a lot of guys that really hate on some of the things they say are absolutely true. Like, I understand where they're coming from in some senses, because I do believe that modern feminism has ruined a lot of things in our society, but that's a whole topic for another day. But yes, they all like to really hate on any woman that maybe have a past and have been promiscuous. And while I 100% would encourage girls to wait until marriage and to try to be selective about who they sleep with, and to obviously never ever ever have an OnlyFans, I think that that's the beautiful thing about God, is that there is always redemption and you can always turn your life around. And so any of you girls out there, don't listen to these men, because honestly most of the time they're just unhappy and just kind of saying mean things on the internet because it makes them feel good, at least for a fleeting moment. And so don't listen to them. Don't let them get you down. You are not worthless. You are not hopeless. There is a man out there that will love you. You just need to repent and turn to God, I swear, and it will all be okay. And also, just a note on a lot of those guys too, I don't want this to come, now I feel like I'm bashing, okay? I don't mean to be, but I'm just trying to point this out, that a lot of the 304 hating guys, they're still watching porn every single day. And I think that we all have our own sins and things that we are trying to move away from, and I think it would be great if the 304 guys could spend less time hating on other girls and more time bettering themselves and not contributing to that same cycle. Like, if you are watching porn on one hand and then getting mad at girls for making porn on the other hand, it just, something doesn't make sense. A lot of people say they can't respect me now, and I understand that. I do. But thankfully, that's the beautiful thing about coming to God, is that you actually don't do things for other people's approval or respect. You do it for God. And so all I really care about is that God loves me and that God respects me, I guess. So totally fine by me. You don't have to like me. You don't have to respect me. That's fine. It's totally fine. I also get a lot of questions and comments of people saying that I'm just doing this for attention. And I realized after telling you my whole life story that I might seem like a crazy person, but I swear I'm quite level-headed now, and no sane person wants attention for something like this. Like, I do not want this. I would much rather just disappear into the middle of nowhere and not talk about this ever again. The only reason I'm here doing this right now, the only reason I post any of the videos on this subject is because I really feel like God has been calling me and telling me to do so, that he wants me to help other girls get out of this hell. And so that's why I'm speaking about it. It is not because I want attention, because I don't want attention, and I especially don't want attention about something like this. Like, this is not a good subject to get attention about. So no, but I understand the skepticism, I suppose. And one other one I forgot to write down, but I was thinking about this morning. A lot of the 304 guys and just people in general will tell you that because you had an OnlyFans, because you have a past, that you cannot have kids now, you cannot have a family. And I understand the sentiment or the idea, because obviously I went through all of that, and I definitely still have my doubts, and I'm definitely still unsure. And when we come time to start trying for a child with my fiance, I really am just going to leave it up to God. And if God gives me one, then that's amazing, and I'll be so happy. But if he doesn't, then I understand that God knows what is best. Sorry, my doorbell just went off. But I have to say this, that there are so many people, not even just girls, but guys that are in the porn industry as well, just people in general that have had a history, that have a past, that were able to start a family, have kids, and live beautiful, happy, amazing lives. That it is always possible to turn your life around, and that you don't need to give up on yourself. Now, sure, does that mean that if I do have kids in the future, they won't ever be bullied or won't ever have to deal with the consequences of my actions? That is so true. And again, why I am still like worried about all of it. But I think that it is possible to use your story and to talk to your kids about all of the mistakes that you have made, and tell them that that is why they need God. And I think that depending on how you raise your kids and the kind of people that you expose them to, it is possible to not have that ruin their life, and instead make them realize that, oh, my mom is a human too, and she made mistakes because she didn't know God, and that's why they need to hopefully always know God. And I don't know, I am not an expert on that. I don't have kids yet, but I know that it is possible because other people before me have done it. So if you're a girl watching this, you think that your life is over, that there is no hope because you can't have kids, you can't have a happy relationship, none of that is true, okay? But the first step is turning to God, and then trust that he will lead the rest of the way. Okay. Oh, hi Maui, you want to say hi? He's Maui. I guess it wouldn't be a video without him saying hello. Good boy. Okay, so that's everything. I feel like this was probably really long, and I hope it made sense, because I really was nervous, like I said, and I'm sorry if I looked at my notes too much, but again, nervous, what can you do? Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it if you got to the end. Even if you watched all of this and you still think that I'm crazy, I really hope that it planted a seed or something. I don't know, I hope it has some kind of positive impact on you, and I wish you the best.